or good afternoon, or good lunchtime, as you want it. We have the first requirements to get from research to the drugs. This session will have 7 speakers. We said we will do 10 minutes presentation each without any questions afterwards, but at the end of the session, a long time for questions and debate. For this, I kindly want to announce the first speaker, Douglas K.R. Robinson, PhD, our Managing Director, TEQNODE in Paris, France, who gives a talk about ideation as first step for translation.
Okay, I can hear myself coming back. So, yes, I was invited to give a very broad little introduction, more broad than I'm used to, on ideation. And so the idea was, it invited me to think, well, what should people do when they first discover something in the lab? If a scientist has a material or a sensor or potential drug, what should be the first step before developing business strategy? And so we put our heads together and looked at the different experiences we had working close to small companies and firms located near in university districts. My experiences in UK, Netherlands and France. And so we came up with these 5 or 6 slides for the 10 minutes. So why ideation? It's not my term, but I took it up anyway. Why ideation and what is it? Well, just a little bit. I won't introduce my company very much. We're a contract research company looking at innovation and technology developments. We also offer consultancy, and you can go to our website. That's all I will say. Why ideation? Well, the very first steps within a lab, even before, if you're developing a project or a proposal for things like the framework program, so now the Horizon 2020, it's interesting to clarify your idea of what sort of impact or relevance your research will have, but also what sort of elements will make it a successful business. So not so easy, but you can make some first steps beyond brainstorming. So clarifying the idea, identifying but not resolving the issues around your technology. I'm going to speak broadly about medical technologies. That was my invited talk rather than just drugs. You can identify knowledge and expertise gaps needed to be successful in translating your knowledge, your technology into a product. And it helps creating a preliminary step before dedicated effort on deciding what IP strategy you want to follow and developing of your business plan. So what is it? Well, it's more than brainstorming. It's a series of steps which help clarify and consolidate your idea of the world in which your technology will become successful. So it focuses on clarifying rather than, as opposed to brainstorming, which is expanding and enriching. So some of the pitfalls that we've experienced in France and in the Netherlands is the first idea when you have a publication, or you're not publishing, you're protecting your intellectual assets, and you decide to patent your knowledge. Researchers often do this without thinking about the road ahead, the innovation pathway they will follow or could follow. Without a relatively clear business strategy, this sort of thing may lead to problems in the future with regard to freedom to operate and basically make use of your knowledge. For example, in a business development strategy, you should decide on the endpoint or exit strategy after your upvaluing of your knowledge. And if you don't have a first idea of your business, locking these down or ignoring them at an early stage can be disastrous. So what do we do? And we put our heads together to think about the sort of questions that we discuss with my company and also in the universities that we're affiliated with. A number of examples in the ideation process which researchers can start answering with support from their technology transfer office or other experts or people like TEQNODE. Questions like, is it a standalone technology or part of a configuration of other technologies or knowledge that needs to be mobilized to make it work? Is it highly application specific, or can it be a technology platform? Sketching out the innovation chain. Who are the players to be involved in developing and producing, manufacturing and rolling out the technology? You don't need lots of details, but you can already start sketching out this, and I'll show you a little bit how one can do that. Are there current incumbent technologies that you can fit your tech with, or is it totally a new value chain? That will shape your business strategy and also help you assess what sort of, how can I put it, what sort of exploitation of your knowledge you would take, which pathway. Perhaps it's best to license it out rather than upvaluing it yourself. Are your potential users easy to define? Are they single or multiple? Are they ready to receive? Is engagement, interaction, and involvement necessary? Who, what, when? These quite obvious things, but often ignored at these very early stages. Can visions of high-performance killer applications be combined with low-performance first entrance ideas of using your technology? Can both approaches be combined into a product family? This is interesting because quite often the first entrants are low-performance type applications of a technology. And that's how you can build knowledge of manufacturing, develop the standards, and then go for more complex technologies. So the manufacturing technical standards, are they in place? Are they moderately so? Will it require some maneuvering? Will it require other assistance? Is an industry there? Can there be redundancy in the sense of alternative or backup plans? We worked with, in another field of microfluidics, of how to develop platforms in microfluidics which have multiple applications, but you have a dedicated target application with others which you can more or less transfer a lot of your development and investments to a different application should the primary line fail. So but those are just some of the long list of questions that one can ask and we can discuss after. I only have 10 minutes, so I can't list them all. But once you go through this list, you can start building a partial picture of the potential value chain and conditions and factors that will shape it. So very basically, this is just a schematic of moving from left to right, of upvaluing of a nanomaterial in a medical sector. So on the left-hand side, you can start plotting the R&D which is required, or the knowledge, where it's located, who has it, and how it combines with your technology. Then you start looking at the nanomaterial manufacturers, in this case, specialized manufacturers, small players. Remember, I'm staying generic for this talk, very broad. But there are also framing conditions. The type of financial investments into this area is venture capitalists. Are they interested? Why are they interested? What about the governance? Are regulators already involved? Standards agencies, risk assessment, and managers. One can start probing and looking at this world already. Then, of course, there's different product lines. So you can go for pharmaceuticals, implants, medical devices have different regulatory landscapes, different industries. And depending on your technology, you can make a choice, especially if it's a nanomaterial. Once you do this, you start, go back to this one, you start locating where your knowledge is, what sort of people need to be involved in making your product a success and make it a configuration in the world that will actually work. You can start identifying potential partners, and this is the first step towards your business strategy. This is the point in the ideation process where you had gone through the checklist of further defining the idea of your technology, so therefore you can go to investors, go to professionals or other companies that can advise you on your business development plan. So, yeah, I'm going to stop there because, yeah, there we go. This was a very broad introduction to this session. The idea was very simple. You can start structuring, beyond brainstorming, you can start structuring the questions and further defining and clarifying the ideas behind your innovation. And you have support systems that are already in place, like technology transfer offices, experts in and around your laboratories, to give you insight into these things like the regulatory landscape, the manufacturing processes, what sort of IP strategy is possible before you start investing further into it. And so with that, I'll leave it because we have regulation, funding, patents, and further experience within this talk. So I'll leave it there.